Don't get me wrong. It's been a good gig. Like you, I take my job seriously. I've been doing this work for a long time as an executive inside a Fortune 500 company and more often as an external consultant. My two partners are PhDs in organizational psychology, and we've done this work globally for over 50 years. We've worked with large and small companies, the armed forces, and the not-for-profit sector. What do? We're part of the multi-billion-dollar executive assessment profession. What's that mean? When the C-suite or the board wants to know who are the high potentials of my company, who could be our next general managers, how do we develop our best people? Well, we tell them. We're paid to be the experts. For example, in my corporate position, the board wanted to know who the top talent was among our software developers in China. I interviewed our managers and reported back. In a more informal setting, I had just finished teaching a leadership development program and had the CEO walk up to me over margaritas and ask me, who are my next general managers? In another case, we had top 200 managers from a national hotel chain complete our psychometric instrument. And again, the senior executives want to know, based on these results, who are my upcoming executives? I'm not complaining that clients don't take us seriously. In fact, it's just the opposite. They are too quick to rely on us to give them the right answer. And while we do have something to say, it's often more than we can claim, but less than what clients want to hear. The problems aren't ours alone. They belong to the profession and our basic assumptions about talent evaluation. These are systemic issues that affect all of us who are making decisions about who to hire, who to promote, or who are our high potentials. You might think that when you hire professionals like us, you get an error-free, bias-free process that results in the objective truth. We are going to find the best person for the job. We're going to find the high potentials. That's why you hired us in the first place. The picture you might have is something like you might see from the popular TV show The Voice. What you see is an orchestrated, objective talent identification event. You can see the judges are intently listening with their backs to the singers. How much more objective can you be? Next, they know what they're looking for. After all, you know what talent is when you hear it. And then the judges carefully listen, review their notes, and decide. Finally, the celebrity judges turn around and happiness erupts. The judges have expertly done their work, and the hypos have been fairly selected. Well, as you might expect, it doesn't work like that in real life. We'll get into more details later, but I want to briefly address 4 myths about talent that are the source of bias that result in financial and human capital mistakes. We so-called professionals also make the same errors that you do. Number 1, we assume it's easy to identify the outstanding performers. They will just naturally stand out. And our culture loves heroes, the edgy iconoclast, the standalone top performer. But while it's easy to spot lousy performance, we have less agreement on what great dancing or what great performance looks like. Number 2, we mistakenly assume that it's easy to measure. Talent is inherent. You have it or you don't, and we can quantify it. But we overestimate innate ability. You can't attribute excellence to a single factor, even IQ, which is still the biggest predictor that correlates with performance and potential. We know that other factors matter: perseverance, grit, practice, determination, but those are more difficult to measure. Third, we feel that we can reliably judge talent. We trust our instincts, we trust our gut, and we just know talent when we see it. But there have been legions of books that have been written about our psychological biases. These include the halo effect, the attribution error, the conformity factor. If you look at something called the idiosyncratic effect, you realize that the feedback or the evaluation that you pronounce about somebody might say more about you than it says about the person. Our final error is that we assume that organizational performance is the sum of individual performances. But we overly attribute success and failure to individuals. But we know that crummy processes and systems trump good people. All of these errors result in narrowly defining talent and value. We've never had a CEO ask us, who are our B players? Tell me, what do we know about our 95% of the employees who are not hypos? These are the folks that want to make a career of staying in their current role and giving their best to make the company successful. We forget that not everyone has the same career aspirations or ambitions. Not everyone wants to be a hypo. Many people don't want to practice the 10,000 hours it takes to become outstanding. They don't want to lean in. They want to do a good job, and they have other interests in life. A while back, I had a chance to visit NASA and had the good fortune to meet one of the astronauts there. And he was definitely a hypo. He spoke a couple different languages. He was a medical doctor. He was charming. He knew how to relate to people. He had it all. But then I was thinking about and was reminded by one of the staff members there that there were over 60,000 scientists, electricians, craftsmen, and maintenance people who made those flights possible. What I learned from that was that we need a more robust evaluation process, one that moves away from just focusing on the hypos, away from the 9-cell matrix where we put people in boxes that result in identifying people as heroes or zeros. Go. In the next part of the seminar, we're going to do a simulation of the traditional talent evaluation process. And you'll experience the results, the negative effects of our traditional talent evaluation processes.